In this channel, we do math for fun.
Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we'll solve the 2021 Chapter Invitational Mathcounts Sprint Round. Question number 1. What is the arithmetic mean of the terms in the arithmetic sequence 12, 18, 24, 30, 36? Our answer is just 24. This is because we can list the terms as 24 minus 12, 24 minus 6, 24, 24 plus 6, 24 plus 12. And we see here that the minuses and pluses cancel out, so the average, or the arithmetic mean, is just 24. If Skylar colors 1/2 of 2/3 of the squares in this figure, how many squares does he color? Let's count the total number of squares in the figure first. So we see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, so there are 18 total squares in the figure. He colors 1/2 of 2/3 of 18 squares. And the 2 and 2 cancel out, so he colors 6 squares. What is the median of the first 7 prime numbers? Well, we see, if we list the prime numbers as P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, P7, we see that median is just P4. So we just count the fourth prime number. So the first prime number is 2, the second is 3, the third is 5, and the fourth is 7. So our answer is just 7. Question number 4. What is the difference between 5 less than a number n and 7 more than n? So 7 more than n will be n plus 7, and 5 less than n will be n minus 5. And the difference between those numbers would just be n plus 7 minus n minus 5, which is just n minus n plus 7 plus 5, which is just 12. So our final answer is just 12. 5. What is the distance between points A and B on the coordinate grid shown? Well, we see that the A and B form a 3, 4, 5 triangle with the x-axis and y-axis. And we also see that since this length is 3 and this length is 4, distance between A and B is just 5. So our answer is just 5. This is because 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. This is by the Pythagorean theorem. Now on to question number 6. Regular hexagon A, B, C, D, E, F shown here has area 5 units squared. What is the area of the trapezoid B, E, B, C, D, E? Express your answer as a decimal to the nearest tenth. Well, since the trapezoid B, C, D, E is congruent to the trapezoid A, B, E, F, and since both trapezoids make up the hexagon and they're both congruent, that means trapezoid BCDE is just half of the area of the entire hexagon. This means that we just do 5 divided by 2 to find the area of trapezoid BCDE, and this is equal to 2.5, and that is our final answer, because they're asking to express your answer as a decimal to the nearest tenth. Question number 7. What is the value of the expression square root of the entire thing, 9 squared minus 5 times 4 plus 12 divided by 4? So here we use order of operations. We see that 9 squared is just 81, 5 times 4 is just 20, and 12 divided by 4 is just 3. We take the square root of all that. So 81 minus 20 is just 61, plus 3 is 64, so the square root of 64 is just 8, and 8 is our final answer. Given that 3a plus 5 equals 7b minus 11 and a equals b, what is the value of a? So we plug in a for b, and we see that 3a plus 5 equals 7a plus 11. Solving for a, we see that, oops, did you see my mistake? I was trying to trick you. 7a minus 11. So that 16 equals 4a, and a equals 4. So the value of a is just 4. An album with 12 songs costs $9.99. If Andy buys each song individually, he pays $0.99 per song. How much money can Andy save by buying the album instead of each individual song? If he buys each individual song, he pays 12 times $0.99. If he just buys the album, he pays $9.99. And we just find the difference between these two things. So 12 times 0.99 is just 12 times 1 minus 0.01. And this is equal to 12 minus 0.12, which is equal to 11.88. And the difference between these two values is just 1.89. So $1.89 is our final answer. What is the integer value of dog plus ice cream cone plus ladybug given these three equations? Let dog equal x, ice cream equal y, and ladybug equals z. We see that 3x equals 90, x plus 2y equals 60, and that 2x minus z equals 40, and x here equals 30, meaning that y equals 15, and this means that z equals 20, and x plus y plus z is just 65, and 65 is our final answer. Question number 11. At Alicia's new job, she works 3 days a week for a total of 45 hours per week. At her old job, she worked 4 days a week for a total of 40 hours per week. What is the absolute difference in the average number of hours Alicia worked per workday at her old and new jobs? So, at her new job, she worked 45 hours per week, and there are 3 work days in a week. So the average is just 15. At her old job, she worked 40 hours per week, and there are 4 work days per week. So she worked an average of 10 hours per work day. So the absolute difference in the average number of hours Alicia worked per work day at her old and new jobs is just 5. "12. What is the value of x if x to the x is 256? Well, you see that 256, we recognize that as a multiple of 2. And in fact, it's a power of 2, since it's equal to 2 to the power of 8. And we need to transform the 2 to the power of 8 as some value to the power of the same value. Since 2 to the power of 8 equals 2 squared to the power of 4, and that equals 4 to the power of 4, x is just equal to 4. Question number 13. What is the least positive integer that has 5 distinct prime factors? So, has 5 distinct prime factors, meaning that we just multiply the smallest 5 prime factors since it's the least possible positive integer. So 2 times 3 times 5 times 7 times 11, that is just equal to 6 times 5 times 7 times 11, and this is equal to 30 times 7 times 11, and this is equal to 210 times 11, and this is equal to 2,310, and that is our final answer. Question number 14. Jasmine estimates her maximum heart rate in beats per minute by subtracting her age from 220. Jasmine's heart rate during exercise should be between 50% and 85% of her maximum heart rate. If Jasmine is 20 years old, what is the highest heart rate in beats per minute that she should have during her exercise? Express your answer to the nearest whole number. since she's 20 years old, we subtract 20 from 220, and this is equal to 200. And then we take the highest heart rate that she should have during exercise, which is 85% of 200, and that is just equal to 170. And that is the nearest whole number. So the final answer is just 170. The arithmetic mean of three distinct integers is 11, and the range of the three integers is 2. What is the smallest of these integers? So the range of these three integers is 2, and the distinct, that means the integers are x, x plus 1, and x plus 2. The arithmetic mean of these three distinct integers is 11. So that means the sum is just 33. So x plus 1 plus x plus 2 equals 33. 3x equals 30, and x equals 10. So our final answer is 10 as the smallest of these integers. Moving on to question number 16. Let a and b equals a times b plus a minus 1. If a and 7 equals 70, what is a and 3? So a and 7 is just a times 7 plus 7 plus a minus 1, which equals 70. This means that a plus 6 equals 70, meaning that a equals 8. So 8 and 3 equals 8 times 3 plus 3 plus 8 minus 1, which is just equal to 34. So our final answer is just 34. Question number 17. Cody's alarm rings every 11 minutes, and his dad calls him upstairs every 15 minutes to wake him up. But Cody will only wake up if his alarm rings and his dad calls him at the same time. If his alarm first rings at 7 a.m. and his dad first calls him at 7:05 a.m., at what time will Cody wake up? So we just need to set the time after 7 a.m. to be the same, and that's the time that Cody wake up, adding 7 a.m. to it. So from here, we see that at the start, his alarm rings 0 minutes after 7 a.m., then 11 minutes, then 22 minutes, then 33 minutes, then 44 minutes, then 55 minutes, and so on. And his dad calls him 5 minutes after 7 a.m., then 20 minutes after 7 a.m., and then it's 35 minutes after 7 a.m., and so on. And we see that these two times collide at 110, since 110 has a remainder 5 and divided by 15. And 110 is also the multiple of 11, meaning that he wakes up 110 minutes after 7 a.m., and that means that he wakes up at 8:50 a.m. Now on to question number 18. The largest rectangular region shown is partitioned into 3 rectangular regions labeled A, B, and C. The length in inches of the rectangles A, B, and C are n plus 3, n plus 5, and n minus 2 respectively, and all 3 rectangles have width n. If the area of rectangle B is 84 inches squared, what is the perimeter of the largest rectangle shown? Well, the perimeter of the largest rectangle shown in terms of n is just n plus 3 plus n plus 5 plus n minus 2 all times 2, and this is equal to 2 times 4n plus 6, which is equal to 8n plus 12. And we see that n times n plus 5 is equal to 84, and since 7 times 12 equals 84, this means that n equals 7. And since we just defined a perimeter of the largest rectangle shown, and plugging in n equals 7, we see that 56 plus 12 is 68. So 68 is our final answer. What is the length of the longest diagonal of the rectangular prism shown, which has length 9 centimeters, width 8 centimeters, and height 12 centimeters? So we need to first find this length, and by the Pythagorean theorem, this length is just 8 squared plus 9 squared, and square root of that. And we need to find this length from this length, and this length. By the Pythagorean theorem, this length squared plus this length squared equals this length squared. So the square root of 8 squared plus 9 squared, all squared, plus 12 squared, and that the square root of all of that is equal to our value that we want. And finding this, we see that it's just the square root of 8 squared plus 9 squared plus 12 squared. And this is equal to the square root of 64 plus 81 plus 144, which is equal to the square root of 289. And the square root of 289 is just 17. So 17 is our final answer. Suppose there is a 80% chance of rain each day. On the days that it rains, Kathy has a 45% chance of being late compared to 30% chance when it does not rain. On a random day, what is the probability that Kathy will be late? So if it does rain, Kathy has a 45% chance of being late. So 80% times 45% chance is the chance that she will be late if it does rain. And if it doesn't rain, there's a 20% chance it doesn't rain. And there's a 30% chance that she'll be late. So adding this together, we see that this is just 36% plus 6%, which is just 42%. So the probability that Kathy will be late is just 42%, which is also equal to 21 over 50. And 21 over 50, or 42%, is our final answer. Moving on to question number 21. Triangle ABC has sides of length 11 inches, 15 inches, and 16 inches. What is the length of the altitude to the side of length 15 inches? Express your answers in simplest radical form. So first, draw the triangle. Here's 11 inches. Here's the 15 inches. And here's the 16 inches. Let's call the altitude to the length of 15 inches h. And then here we see that 15 times h over 2 is just the area of ABC. And the area of ABC is equal to the square root of s times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c. And in this case, we see that s is just equal to 11 plus 15 plus 16 over 2, which equals to 21. And to find the area, we simply take the square root of 21 times 21 minus 16 times 21 minus 15 times 21 minus 11. And this all equals the square root of 21 times 5 times 6 times 10. And this is just equal to the square root of 3 times 7 times 5 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 5. So to pair up the 2's, pair up the 3's, and pair up the 5's, we see that this equals 30 root 7. And plugging this back in for the area of ABC, 30 root 7, we see that 15h equals 60 root 7, and the h equals 4 root 7. So our final answer is just 4 root 7. Julie is packing marbles into boxes. She needs to pack away 850 marbles. She has boxes that can hold 10, 25, 50, or 100 marbles. If Julie can use at most 5 boxes of each size and must fill each box she uses, what is the minimum number of boxes she needs to pack all her marbles? So we see here that 100 is equal to 2 times 50, which is equal to 4 times 25, which is equal to 10 times 10. So 100 is the most efficient. So we need as many hundreds as we can. So 5 times 100 plus 5 times 50. And since 50s are more efficient than 25s or 10s, we need as many 50s as we can. This equals 750. So we still need 65 left. If we use 50 marbles, 2 boxes each of 25, that would not be enough. That would not work because then we would have we need a multiple of 5 when we have only multiple of 10 and we have only multiples of 10 left. So we only can use 1 box of 25. So we see that 750 plus 25 plus 40 equals 815. So we used 5 boxes of 100, 5 boxes of 50s, 1 box of 25s, and 4 boxes of 10s for a total of 15 boxes altogether. Moving on to question number 23. What positive number x has the property that x to the 7th and the 6th root of that minus 6 times x squared and the 3rd root of that equals 0? So we see that this is just x to the 7th 6th minus 6 times x to the 2/3. And this equals 0. Factoring out x to the power of 2/3, we see that x to the power of 2/3 times x to the 1/2 minus 6 equals 0. Since x cannot be 0, since they're asking for the positive number, we see that x to the 1/2 minus 6 equals 0, meaning that x to the 1/2 equals 6, and x just equals 36. So 36 is our final answer. On to question number 24. What fraction is equivalent to 0.7121212 repeating? Express your answer as a common fraction. Let x equal 0.7121212 repeating. 10x would be equal to 7.12121 repeating, and 1000x would just be equal to 712.12121 repeating. 990x is just equal to 705, meaning that x, or our original expression, is just equal to 705 over 990. This means that x equals 141 over 198, and that means that x equals 47 over 66, and that is our final answer. In the figure, two circles of radius 1 inch are internally tangent to a circle of or radius 5 inches, so that the centers of all three circles are collinear. The shaded fourth circle is tangent to each of the other three circles as shown. What is the radius of the shaded circle? Express your answer as a common fraction. So let this be the center of the radius circle. This would just be the r, where the radius is the center circled, and this would be r plus 1. This would just be r plus 1. And since this is 4 right here, this is 4, since it's 5 minus 1, this length right here is just r plus 1 all squared minus 4 squared, and take the square root of all that. So this means that the square root of r plus 1 squared minus 16 equals 5 minus r. This means that r squared plus 2r minus 15 equals r squared minus 10r plus 25. This means that 12r equals 40, and r equals 10 over 3. So 10 over 3 is our final answer. Question number 26. The greatest of three non-negative integers is one more than twice the sum of the other two integers. The arithmetic mean of the three integers rounded to the nearest integer happens to equal the median of the set. What is the product of the three integers? So we let the integers be x, y, and 2 times x plus y plus 1. We know that the arithmetic mean of three integers, which is 3x plus 3y plus 1 over 3, if it's rounded to the nearest integer, it equals y, or the median of the set. We see that x plus y plus 1/3, and we round that equals y. And because this is true, that means that x, or the smallest integer, must equal 0. And the reason this is true is because if it was not equal to 0, that means if you round y, it would not be equal to y. So x is just 0. And since x is 0, the product of the three integers is just 0 times something, which is just 0. So the product of three integers is just 0, and 0 is the final answer. Now moving on to question number 27. Suppose p of x is a polynomial such that p of x equals p of 1 plus p of 2 times x plus x squared for all numbers x. What is the value of p of 5? We plug in 1 for x, we see that p of 1 equals p of 1 plus p of 2 plus 1. This means that p of 2 equals negative 1. We also see that p of 2 equals p of 1 plus p of 2 times 2 plus 4. Plugging in negative 1 for p of 2, we see that p of 1 equals -3. And since p of 1 equals -3, we can plug in 5 for x, and p of 5 is equal to p of 1 plus p of 2 times 5 plus 25. And p of 5 equals -3 plus -5 plus 25. And this means that p of 5 is just equal to 17. And 17 is our final answer. Let 4 root of n be defined as the greatest integer less than or equal to n. What is the value of n if 4 root of n times n equals 3? Express your answers as decimal to the nearest tenth. We first see that 2 times 2 equals 3, but when one of them is 4 rooted, 1 times 2 equals 2. 2 times 2 is not equal to 3. Did you guys get tricked? I was trying to trick you there. 2 times 2 equals 4, and 1 times 2 equals 2. So if we have a number like, for example, 1.9 times 1.9 with one of them having a 4 root, this is equal to just 1.9. So we never get a value of 3 if n is positive. However, if n is negative, the story is different. Because if n is negative, then the 4 root of, for example, -3.5 is equal to -4. So we can see that the 4 root of 1.5 times -1.5 equals -2 times -1.5, and this equals 3. So our answer is just -1.5. So -1.5 is our final answer. On to question number 29. Square ABCD shown here has side length 6 units. Points P and Q are located on sides AD and BC respectively, with AP equals BQ equals 1 unit. So AP is 1 unit, BQ is 1 unit, and side AB is 6 units. Triangles ACP and BDQ overlap in the square to form a shaded quadrilateral. What is the area of the shaded quadrilateral? Express your answer as a common fraction. So we multiply the horizontal diagonal by the vertical diagonal. So, and divide that by 2 to find the area of the shaded quadrilateral. So to find the length of the horizontal diagonal, we simply find this length first. To find this length, let's call it x. We see that this length is 5 and this length is 6. Meaning that, and since this triangle right here, 1, 2, 3, and this triangle, 1, 2, 3, they are similar. This means that x is just 5/11 of the entire altitude. So the x is just equal to 5/11 times 6, which is 30/11. We see that the same thing applies here, so we can use the same exact thing and to label this x. So we see that the horizontal diagonal is just 6 minus 60/11. This is just 66/11 minus 60/11, which is just 6/11. So the horizontal diagonal is just 6/11. And to find the vertical diagonal, we do the exact same thing. We first find this length right here. Let's call it y. To find this length, we see that it is just half of the half of this length, which is 5. So y equals 2.5. And to find this length right here, we see that this length is just half of 6, which is 3. So this length right here is 3. So this length right here is just 0.5. Now multiplying them together, we get that 6/11 times 1/2 all divided by 2 equals 3 over 22, and that is our final answer. On to question number 30, the last question. How many ordered triples of positive integers a, b, c have GCF ABC equals 2020 and LCM ABC equals 2020 squared? So we see that we can first factor 2020. Factoring 2020, we see that 2020 equals 101 times 2 squared times 5. 2020 squared equals 101 squared times 2 to the 4th times 5 squared. The key here is looking at each prime factor individually and testing them for A, B, and C and changing them around. For 101, we see that out of A, B, and C, one of the factors must contain a factor of 101 to the power of 1. One of them must contain a factor of 101 squared because the LCM is 2020 squared, and one of them can be 101 to the power of 1 or 101 squared. Same thing for 5. One of them has to contain a factor of 5 to the power of 1. One of them has to contain a factor of 5 squared, and one of them contain a factor of 5 to the power of 1 or 5 to the second. And we see that the total number for these is just 1, 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 2, and 1, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 2. And that's just 3 cases, 3 cases, 3 cases, 3 cases. And the total number of cases for this is just 6, and the same for here. So for 101 and 5, total number of cases for those prime factors is just 6 times 6, or 36. For 2, it's a little more complicated. We see that one of them has to contain a factor of 2 squared, one of them has to contain a factor of 4 to the power of 4, and the other one has to contain either 2 to the power of 2, 2 to the power of 3, or 2 to the power of 4. And I'll just be 2, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 4, 4. That'll just be 3, 6, and 3. And adding them together, we get that this is 12. And 12 times 36 is just 144 times 3, which is just 432. And 432 is our final answer.
Please make sure to subscribe, share, and like this video, as well as turn on that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye!